Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, brought to you by Cherry River Hard Seltzer. Only 90 calories, natural flavors, no preservatives. Now available in Quebec grocery stores and at the beer store. And joining me today from RDS, Normand Flynn. Comment ça va, Normand?
Ça va bien, Tony. Ça va bien.
Ça va bien. Même quand il pleut, le soleil me tend la main. Ça va. All right, ça va bien maybe for you, and ça va bien for me. Mais pour les Canadiens de Montréal, for the players and for the coaching staff, ça va mal à shop, Normand.
Ouais, ça va mal. Well, you know, it's not something that you did not, you could not predict. I mean, they are into this, and they've been in it for over a month, and even since the beginning of the season. When a team doesn't win 2 games in a row, and they have played over 30 games right now, and they haven't won 2 games in a row, there's something wrong. And besides the fact that they have this COVID thing, I mean, the team is not going anywhere. And that's what worries me. And that's why this morning on TSN with you, I'm worried about, you want to rebuild. I know that's your take. I know that a lot of people want that. But I mean, I'm looking at the kids that are on the team now.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Suzuki. We're talking about Caulfield. We're talking about Paling. We're talking about defenseman Romanov. Everybody wants those kids to go to the American League to learn how to play the game. Well, isn't this a beautiful time to do it? They're in the NHL, playing against NHL players, and they have a chance to be there without needing to win another game. But
you're right and you're wrong. There's 20 today with players on the COVID protocol list and injured players. 20 Montreal Canadiens are missing. 20. That's an entire team. So yes, they have the opportunity to play, but they're not playing with great players. They're playing versus much better teams, and they have no chance to do anything.
It's perfect. It's perfect, Tony, because you and a lot of other fans, they don't want to win. They want to make sure that they get the best first-round pick, right? But you need, in every bad situation, you need to get something positive out of it. What I'm saying here is, does that prevent you, the coach, from taking these young guys and showing them how to play good defensive hockey? We know we're not going to win. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows they're not going to beat the Hurricanes. But why don't we start this game by trying to be the best defensive team out there on that ice? Why can't we try that? And why can't we come back when the kid comes back from the ice and he made a mistake? Why can't we have him on the bench, tell him what to do, go back out there and do it correctly the next time? You have to have a learning process. And right now, I don't want to be in a waiting mode to see, okay, who's going to be the next GM? Who's going to be our next first-round pick? Why don't we wait till Shane Wright is drafted in Montreal so we can become a competitive team again? I don't want to see that. I don't think that's the way it works. It's not my thinking. I don't know where they're going, but what I'm seeing right now, I'm not seeing any improvement on those kids, and they should be taken very seriously because that's what's been lacking for 10 years. Yeah. And look where they are today because of that lack of development, that lack of right draft, and that lack of development with their own kids. Even if they went to send them to the American League or they kept them, either way, it didn't work.
I understand, but here's where you and I are going to disagree. I agree with a lot of what you said. They're depleted. They're decimated. There's no way you can really evaluate. I'm going to tell you why. If they're going up against players on other teams that are bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they're better, and they're this and they're that. If they're not playing with the best possible players they should be playing with and guys are out of position and this and that, they can try and do a lot of the right things all they want, but it's a chain. And if there's a missing link in the chain, right, the puck's going to end up in your net. Tony. So I know you want them to play better defensive hockey. I get that. But in a season that's lost, I bet you a lot of guys are thinking of putting up numbers because they know they're not going to win games.
Well, I don't see any guys wanting to put up numbers. I don't see anybody trying to get out of it, eating the puck and trying to score goals. I don't see him in the scoring chances. They're rare. If that's what you think they're trying to do, I mean, if I'm Jonathan Drouin, I don't want to miss another game. If I'm Suzuki, I don't want to miss another game. I'm on the puck all the time, but it's not the case. That's not what I'm seeing. I don't know if you see that, but I don't see that.
Well, I mean, in Drouin's case, he didn't play last game because he was under the weather. We hear.
Yeah. Okay. So that said, if that's the thinking, and I can understand, I've been in hockey long enough that for some time, at the end of the season, you have 5-6 games, and you're not going to be in the playoffs, and you're playing games for nothing. I understand, but this is the middle of the year. You still got half the games or more to play.
Yeah, but Norma, they're trying. They're not good enough.
You seem to be on the same. You seem to be on the same video or tape that they're giving him before they meet the media.
Okay, hold on a second. Raphael Harvey Pinard. Let me just do a little exercise with you. Do you not think he's giving everything he has and more?
He does.
Do you not think that Pizzetta is giving everything he has?
He does. He's
perfect.
Fine.
That Baddock gave what he could give.
He's fine.
Yolonen.
He's fine. And no, he's not fine. Never going to be players at the NHL level, I don't think, for most of the guys that you just mentioned, besides fourth liners. I'm talking about the chunk of the team. I'm talking about the core.
So who's not giving their best?
Well, I'm not saying not giving their best. They're not coached. They're not right now in an environment where I see them growing. That's what I mean by what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the other kids that are coming in first game of the NHL, of course the guy's working hard. Of course. What do you think? If he wouldn't be working hard, he'd be dumb. So he's working hard. He's coming in and working hard. What I'm talking about is the path that they're on right now. I understand all of what you're saying. And I understand the lack of motivation for most of them. And they think the season's over, and they're probably right.
They're demoralized. Yeah, like the fan base. They're demoralized.
Okay, but if I'm the coach, I cannot let the kids that are going to be the future of this organization, a lot of guys have said Suzuki is going to be this team's number one center. I don't want to see him not working hard and not working the proper way. If there's one thing I want him to do in this bad time of the season and this bad time for this organization is to prepare for next year the right way by working hard, not quitting, being a player every time he's out there. I would cut his ice time to under 20 minutes because now he's above 20 minutes and he's worked out too much. He's tired. He's fed up.
Yeah, he's on fumes right now.
Exactly right. So give him 18 good minutes, but demand and make sure he plays the right way. The same goes for Caulfield. When he comes back from the ice and he made a mistake, I want to see them talk to him, and I want to see him go out there and make the right move the second time.
But Norma, if they wouldn't be as decimated and depleted and have as many COVID cases as they had, hold on, let me finish here. Caulfield would be in Laval. And that's where he should be because he needs to score goals. I understand you want to work on, listen, two different schools of thought here, okay? You say to yourself, I know what you're thinking. Tony Caulfield scores well. He's always scored well. We need to teach him the defensive game. Perfect. I understand that school. My school of thought is, Norma, Caulfield has scored goals at every level. We have to make sure that he continues to score goals at the next level. So I want him in that situation where he's scoring more goals in Laval. You want him in Montreal where they teach him the defensive game, and that's where we stand right now. But this player, the more he goes on without getting the puck, the more he goes on without shooting the puck, and the more he goes on without scoring goals, it's destroying his confidence.
Okay. You have said it before. There's no way that they're going to make the playoffs, and this team is not going anywhere this year.
I think that's fairly obvious.
I don't care. I don't care if he's got a lack of confidence offensively because he's going to be on the power play anyway on my team. If I'm coaching, he's on that power play on the first fan every time. I don't care what happens, but I want him to be better the next time he's out there. That's what I'm saying. I don't care about the lack of confidence because I would tell him, listen, kid, it doesn't matter. We need to take those steps in order for you to be better next year. You're probably not going to score goals. And when you're going to be, without a goal for 5-6 games, I don't care. All I want you to do is concentrate on doing the right things, offensively and defensively. When it's time to back check, you're the first man back. I want you to apply that back pressure. know where you're going, show your defenseman who you're taking, and be a smart player without the puck. Now, when you're on the power play, we know we're not full lineup, but we had been with a full lineup or almost at the beginning of the year, and things were the same. That's where I'm getting at. It hasn't changed from the team that had almost everybody playing besides 3 or 4 guys, and then we start to go down to what it is today.
I know what you're saying. Hold on a second. Translation. What you're saying is
translation
that 30 plus games in, you are struggling to see an identity with this club, and Dominic Ducharme has not instilled something that has been sustainable. That's what you're trying to say. It's just that you're a former coach, you're a very nice guy, and you don't want to put down the coach. Dominic Ducharme has not coached this team well this year. Now, there are some things that are not in his control. The team is weaker than it was a year ago. There are some very, very key players missing from this lineup. They have had a ton of injuries and a ton of COVID cases. But because they have that, they should have a better defensive identity. They should be playing better hockey. What you're talking about, that falls on the coach. Doesn't fall on me. Doesn't fall on you. It falls on the coach.
I don't want it to be falling on the coach only, because the coach, the first person who signs the check is the one who decides who's going to be hired and how he wants things done. So if I'm Jeff Molson and if I'm looking at this, I'm talking straight to Jeff Norton. Listen, we can't go on like this. This has got to be corrected. If he's a small bit, a hockey man, or he's got an advisor right next to him, and this advisor is a future or past hockey player, he's going to tell him, listen, this is in a total slide. This is not going anywhere.
Time out. You're Jeff Molson. I'm Jeff Gordon. You have this conversation with me. I come back and I say to you, Jeff, when we met, you told me about the reality within the club, and you told me that you're paying Claude Julien $5 million this year. Dominic Ducharme has a 3-year contract, and he has to be my coach for the remainder of the season. If he has to be my coach, and this is the way he coaches, and this is the best of his ability, what do you want me to do?
I want you to sit down with him and Alex Burrows and the defenseman's coach, the ex-defenseman Luke Richardson.
Yeah.
And the other coach, Latkovich or Latowski.
Trevor Latowski.
Meet with these 4 guys. I'm Trevor. I'm not Trevor Timmons. I'm of course
Trevor Latowski.
I'm not Trevor Latowski. I'm the head man.
Ducharme.
Gordon. I'm Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon. Okay, yeah, okay.
I've got all these guys in front of me.
Yeah.
This is what I want. I want these kids to learn. I want the identity to be established. Now, it's like you're selling me a program to be fit. Oh, well, I'll start in 2 weeks, or I'll start in 2 years, or I'll start December 23rd, 2024. No, you got to start now. You want to start now because you want those kids to be better tomorrow. And that's the problem I have with this situation. I'm seeing a slide, and I'm seeing nobody take control and say, whoa, this can't be. I mean, I know we're going to lose games. I'm the GM, or I'm Jeff Gordon. I decide everything. I know I'm going to lose games. I know where I'm going, but I do not want to lose my identity, my pride, and especially not lose my kids that I've already got on the team and that I think and I know they're signed to be good players in this league. I don't want to lose them.
All right.
Right now, what I'm saying is you're wasting precious time with those kids, and they're not doing anything right. They're not being taught what to do and how to be better the next day. If they are, it's because they're not listening. Then other actions have to be taken. I don't know what's going on in the room, but I can tell you this. I see the games. I've seen games for 27 years at RDS, and I've been coaching since I was 19 years old. I mean, I've seen hockey, and I tell you that these guys don't want to win. They're not playing to win, and they're not playing the right way.
Because they know they're not good enough.
Maybe, but it doesn't prevent you. If you're not good enough, Tony, it doesn't prevent you from working hard, being disciplined, and follow a game plan. You can do that without any talent, my friend.
Okay.
Germany does that. Switzerland does that every time they're at the World Championship. Why? Because they have a plan. We're not good enough. We're going to play that way. And that's the way they do it.
All right, you can go to sportbuffshop.com for all of your officially licensed sports apparel and our sick merchandise like this. Embrace the tank. Yes, use code 615 for 15% off on all of their items. All right, okay. Now, Jeff Gordon. There have been some names that have been thrown out there as GM candidates that they're going to interview virtually. Émilie Castonguay, Daniel Sauvageau, Marc Denis, Stéphane Quintal, Kent Hughes, Patrick Roy, Mathieu Darche, Daniel Briere. Speaking to you, it sounds like you wanted this done yesterday, huh?
I wanted it done at the same time Jeff Gordon got in. I don't want to sound like somebody that thinks differently than anybody else, but I probably do think differently. Because if you're selling me a two-man head, a dragon with two heads that's going to lead the way, I'd love them to be born of the same date. Because one is going to be the master of the other one as I see things going on now.
Of course.
So that's exactly where I'm getting at. Now, the GM that's coming in is going to be a GM that's going to come in to learn to become a GM. And I don't like that. The Montreal Canadiens should have enough. First, they have enough money. And second, they have enough experience in Stanley Cups that they should hire to attract a good hockey person that's going to make decisions as a GM and not a kid or somebody they're going to put in there to be groomed by whomever is the head man, because right now, whomever I think is Jeff Gordon. He's going to be handling the whole situation.
But that's the reality, right? The reality is Jeff Gordon is the GM in disguise. Whoever will be hired will be part of a collaboration, will be groomed, will be shadowed and mentored by Jeff Gordon. We'll take some decisions for sure, but we'll be learning under Jeff Gordon. And at one point, Jeff Gordon is going to be on his way 4 or 5 years down the line. And if things go well with that general manager will then indeed not only be the general manager in title, but also the general manager, period. I mean, that's the reality, right? Right?
Well, if that's the reality,
well, you know it's the reality. Come on.
Yeah, I know it's the reality. Yeah. That's why I don't understand that plan at all. Because if this guy leaves after 4 or 5 years, like you say, and the person in place is not good enough or is not the right guy, now where do we go from here? We fire him to find the real guy?
The person has to be good enough. They have to end up hiring someone that has a lot of quality that will be able to add with their quality with whatever they can learn from Jeff Gordon. I mean,
listen, I'm not saying here that I know the future and all that, but
who do you think they're going to hire? Who do you think they're going to hire?
I don't know. I absolutely don't know. You know what? To me, today, the Montreal Canadiens are a total disaster. That's to me. That's what I see. They are a mess from the get-go, from the beginning of this year. They were a mess, and they are worse today, even after the hiring of Jeff Gordon. I don't know where he's going, and this stupid thing of I'm going to name someone after Christmas, and I'll find out who it is, and he's trying to sell us that this guy is going to be making decisions. I don't know who in the world who in the world would sit down with Jeff Gordon and say, "Okay, Jeff, who do I see if I need, who's my boss?"
It's
who's
Jeff.
My boss, Jeff. Well, I'm your boss. Oh, so if I have to make a trade because I think this team needs to make a trade, I have to argue over with you, and if you don't accept my trade, I have to live my experience as an NHL GM, as a buy guy, and when I call the other GMs, wait a second, I have to talk to Jeff. I want to know what he thinks of it because I can't make a decision without talking to Jeff. So, Tony, wait a minute. I'll tell you if I'll send you this player. I'm not sure. Okay, just wait. Hang on for a second. Hey, Jeff, can we trade Gallagher to Vancouver? I'm sorry, Tony. Tony, I'm sorry. We can't do it. I thought it was a great deal, but we can't do it. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Is that going to work?
Well,
You think
listen,
that's going
I
to
don't
work?
know exactly the way they're going to do it, but I think what's going to happen is Jeff Gordon and the general manager, they're going to have a conversation. Jeff Gordon's going to tell him exactly how he sees the future. The general manager will say how he sees the future. In the end, it's going to be how Jeff Gordon sees the future, and the general manager is going to have to follow those guidelines. That's it. That's all.
Who makes the fair? Then the guy that's going to make the phone calls as a GM has no power. So when he gets down to the room, do you think that the players know how much power this guy's got? When the player is unsatisfied of his ice time, he wants to talk to somebody else than the coach. Does he meet the GM or does he ask for Jeff Gordon?
He'll meet the GM.
Okay, then
Because Jeff Gordon will say, I'm not the GM, go talk to the GM.
Go check the GM. Then I want to be traded. Okay, Jeff will say, well, we don't want to trade him. Well, I don't know what I'm going to say to him because I don't know. You see under what situation you put me in?
Yes.
No, but Tony,
but hold on a second.
I've been in those shoes, Tony.
Yes.
I know how it is.
This is the situation. The situation was the situation that was put in from the Francophone media, knowing that they will not accept an Anglophone general manager. You know it, and I know it. The last time they had a unilingual Anglophone coach, who, by the way, whose regular season record and winning percentage was much better than that of the coach right now, they got absolutely obliterated. People were outside the Molson Center, and they were saying, we're not going to come to your games anymore, and we're not going to buy your beer anymore. At that point,
I don't know.
The owner of the team said, I want no part of this anymore.
When I grew up, I saw Al McNeil behind the bench of the Montreal Canadiens. I saw Bob Berry behind the bench of the Montreal Canadiens.
Yes.
And Bob Berry or Al McNeil didn't say anything in French. And Scotty Bowman got in, and he could speak a little in French because he was from Montreal. And I don't know why people are saying that. I understand
because it's the reality.
Well, it's not the reality. If you hire somebody and they win, you can have an assistant come. Why don't we have Alex Burrows sometimes? Dominic Shum is fed up, tired of talking to media. Why don't we have Alex Burrows come?
Hold on a second.
Why wouldn't you have an assistant coach sometimes?
You read the French daily newspapers the day after Jeff Gordon was hired. They kind of mocked this hiring and were upset about it. There's a bunch of people that have spoken out saying that they're disappointed that Jeff Gordon was hired because the Canadians should have hired this alumni or that alumni or this alumni or that alumni. You know as well as I do, it has not gone over very well with the majority of the fan base in this province. Come on, that's a reality. You know that.
Tony, I get it. I get it. I have an issue also because I know enough hockey and I know enough people in the province of Quebec and in hockey right now that could have had Jeff Gordon's job. And that person, whether it's Patrick Roy, I don't care who it is.
Okay, hold on
I'm naming Patrick Roy, okay? I'm just saying. Patrick Roy, okay? Let's say we name him.
All right.
He hires Jeff Gordon as the development guy, and you're going to take care of all the drafts. You're going to be choosing the head scout. You're going to be in charge of all the development, and the other guy's the GM of the team. What would be the issue? I have enough hockey in me to say that people in Quebec are frustrated that we are looking for somebody in the United States to run this organization and make decisions like you and I know he's going to make the decisions without, and I'm not saying he's not a good hockey guy. I'm saying they should have tried to find somebody that speaks, both languages, be the guy, and then make sure he hires
I have a question for you.
That are good.
Okay, I have a question for you. Jeff Gordon was the assistant general manager with the Boston Bruins for 7 years. He has experience in scouting. He was at the draft table. He drafted Kessel. He drafted Lucic. He drafted Marchand. He traded Raycroft for Rask. He signed as unrestricted free agents Zdeno Chara and Mark Savard. He went on to be the general manager of the New York Rangers for 6 years and led their rebuild. And the Rangers today are the team that they are, mostly due in part to Jeff Gordon. That's the CV. You find me somebody who speaks English and French, not named Julien Brisebois, that has a CV like that. Whenever you're ready.
I'm looking at Anaheim and Madden Jr.
Madden Jr. Martin Madden Jr. has a great CV. I will give it to you.
Look to the Anaheim Ducks, where they're going and where they're going to be in a couple of years. Trevor Zegras, Jamie Drysdale, and look at his team right now where they are. They're going to be even better.
No, and listen.
McTavish is a third guy that I was trying to mention to you. He's built a real, and this kid's from Quebec.
Yeah.
He knows the game. He could have been. Why not him? I don't know. Not enough experience, not enough this.
So I'm going to tell you this. With 12 years as director of amateur scouting for the Anaheim Ducks and 2 years as assistant general manager, the body of experience that Jeff Gordon has and the CV, it makes him more GM ready in Montreal. Now, having said that, I want Martin Madden Jr. too. Hire him. Throw a blank check at him.
He said it when they came in. Two heads are going to lead.
I don't have a problem with that. Hire him.
Why not hire them at the same day?
I don't have a problem with
it. Name Jeff Gordon. Both. And there we go. We start from now.
I don't have a problem with that.
We have to wait until they get a GM.
And by the way, he also drafted.
Jeff Gordon decides how he wants to build this team. Why? In the meantime, these kids are wasting their year. That's why I wanted both of them to be hired the same day. So the next day, like the Vancouver Canucks, next day, we start to be the team we want to be. Not in 2 years.
By the way, he also drafted Frederik Andersen, Josh Manson, William Karlsson, John Gibson, Sami Vatanen, Kyle Palmieri, Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm, Shea Theodore, Sam Steele, Maxim Pomplac, Troy Terry, Ricard Raquel.
Tony Barano, when did you hear me say Jeff Gordon is no good?
You never said that.
I never said that.
No?
I said he is one guy that I would hire, yes.
Okay.
But the guy running the show, the guy with him, it's going to be a two-man job, I have no problem with it. But name them at the same moment.
Yeah.
Please. So we don't have one guy running pretending that the other guy is going to be equal to him. He will not be equal. Jeff Gordon will be the boss of the next guy coming in. If Jeff Molson had hired both of them and say to them, listen, I'm your boss, the both of you. You run the show. You're in charge of this and you're in charge of that. Go.
So this is what I would do. That's what I would do. I would say to Jeff Gordon, you have more experience as an assistant GM and as a GM. You're my GM, and I'm going to pay you like it. Martin Madden Jr., you're my director of amateur scouting, and I'm going to pay you as much as I'm paying my GM. But the title you're going to have is you're actually going to be the GM. So I'll give Martin Madden the title of GM, but he's really more so my director of amateur scouting. I'll make Jeff Gordon my executive VP of hockey ops, but he's really the GM. And that's it. Empty blank check for both of them. It's not like money's a problem here. My money's not a problem anyway.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get...
Out of all the names that have been thrown out, Martin Madden Jr. is not a name that we're hearing that will have a virtual interview. Tells you everything that you need to know. Gordon's their guy. They're going to complement them with someone whose strength is not the draft and the young players. It's too bad because I've always believed two heads are better than one, three are better than two, and four are better than three. If Martin Madden Jr. is the best at evaluating young talent, he needs to work for the Montreal Canadiens. It's the Montreal Canadiens, c'est pas les Cobras de Parcoilette de Ville-la-Salle.
Or l'Arizona Coyote. But listen, I get it. And I get it. And if this, let's say they don't get somebody that they're satisfied with, and they listen to these people, and they say, you know what? Nobody's qualified enough. It's not going to work. So what do you do? Well, I would do exactly like you just said before. I would say, Jeff, you know what, Jeff? This is not going the way that we expected it. You're going to be the GM. Name yourself an assistant GM who's going to take charge of the development and also take charge of the scouting. So you need two more guys. One that's very solid to develop. It could be an ex-player. Doesn't need to be very experienced. He needs to know what he's doing. And the other guy has to be real good at scouting players. There you could find somebody that doesn't have to speak French, or if he does, perfect, but he doesn't have to. But find me the two best people. We know Jeff Gordon's in place. They're not going to kick him out now. You think the public will say, no, we don't want him because he doesn't speak French? Hey, listen, let's get the other guy that's an assistant, be on the TV.
The Journal de Montréal and La Presse newspaper will crucify him.
Well, if they do,
they won't even give him a chance.
If they win, they'll shut them down. If they win, if they keep losing and they're bad, yeah. And French or English, they'll be bad.
And for everyone who says
he was crucified, Mario was speaking French, he was crucified. Tremblay, Patrick Roy, even Jacques Demers, they're all crucified. Bingo. And they spoke French. So if they win, they're going to stay. If they lose, they're going to go. That's the way it is.
You know, listen, but for everyone who's pushing for Patrick Roy, should Patrick Roy and Jeff Gordon get into a disagreement and it's made public, where do you think public opinion's going to go? The gars de chez nous.
Yeah. Forget it. Patrick Roy is not going to be under Jeff Gordon. Never.
And
he's going to come
Gordon
in.
Will never want to work with Patrick Roy.
Don't even meet him. It's not going to be a match.
It's optics. They need to show that they're talking to Patrick so that he was under consideration. You and I know he has zero chance of being the GM of the team. Zero.
Exactly right. Zero. That's
all
it.
right. In terms of zero, add more zeros to it, 5 or 6 more, and then you know how much money Normand Flynn makes at the end of the year. 7 figures.
Because you are going to pay me a lot of money for this.
7 figures. Normand, I wish you all the best to you and yours in 2022. Thanks for doing this, Normand. And take it easy on Jeff Gordon. Give him a chance.
Hey, Tony. I want him to show me who he is. Yeah. And I want him to start right now getting involved.
Okay.
I don't want to start the program.
All right.
The Be Fit program like you have. You bought all the tools, right?
Yeah.
You got all the apparels. Don't start in 2 years, Tony.
I won't.
Start right now.
In the meantime, I have 3 words for you.
Go.
Embrace the tank. Salut, Normand.
It's always a pleasure, Tony.
Happy New Year. Tell your friends about the podcast. Follow it on Facebook, The Sick Podcast. Follow it on Instagram at The Sick Podcast. Follow it on our YouTube channel. Subscribe, join. It's all for free. You watch for free. I make money. What a beautiful world. Salut, Normand. Ciao, ciao, bello.
Tony. Ciao.